this is perhaps the greatest opportunity for scale that we've seen in our lifetime. Why am I nerding out over AI? I think it's a good touch point to consider. It's a chance for us to scale our company, grow profits disproportionate to revenue. The number one driving question, at least for me, in terms of what drives our strategy at Brand Builders Group is simply, how do we help our clients succeed faster? I am just consumed with that question. How do we help our clients succeed faster?
Yeah.
That's what I think is so powerful. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. I am joined by my wife, business partner, co-founder, co-author, AJ Vaden. Today we're going to be talking about and diving into the subject of AI. We're going to be talking about the ways that we're using AI, the ways that we're not using AI, what's helpful, what's gimmicky, how AJ is using it as a CEO, and how I'm using it to build the content and infrastructure to support more personal brands and more of our clients. So, babe, welcome back to the show.
On this topic of AI, I think it would be really fascinating for everyone who's listening to hear why you're so passionate about it. And for those of you
Passionate, also nerdy.
passionate, nerdy, whatever you want to call it. But I think this is really good because a lot of people listening may not know, but we've really been on a internal company-wide kick for the last 18 months on building bots and trying to figure out different AI tools and strategies to help us scale without having to add a lot of human capital. And I'll just start with this. My philosophy is and will always be, I do not want to use AI to replace jobs. I would like to use AI to scale from here without having to add more jobs. One of the things that we say at Brand Builders Group all the time is we want to provide maximum income opportunities for the team that we have. But if we keep having to add more jobs, more roles, more people, well, then the income opportunities have to get distributed evenly. But if we can figure out how to do more with less addition of human capital, then we're able to keep that money and spread it more internally to who's here. So I think that's a really important place to start. I know there's a lot of companies doing a lot of layoffs right now. I just read last week Salesforce announced a huge layoff because the CEO said, well, I just don't need as many bodies. And, I think there's a lot of benefit to AI, but I see our team as more than just bodies, right? They are more than just bodies. We're also super believers and advocates in what AI can do to help scale efficiencies, effectiveness. And I think this is a good topic to talk about both humanity and AI.
Yeah. So as you were talking, it was reminding me, there's a chapter in our new book, Wealthy and Well Known, on monetization strategy, which you wrote, where we talk about the difference between growth and scale. Why don't you tell everybody what the difference is? I mean, I know everybody listening has already read our book, of course. They study it on nights and weekends.
Every chapter, underlined, highlighted, folded, starred.
If they haven't.
So growth is when you are growing revenue at the same rate you're growing expenses, right? So that's growth, right? Yep. We just know so many people behind the scenes who have, and I'm sure all of you have seen this too. It's like, learn how to have a 6-figure launch, make 7 figures in your first year. And it's like, okay, that could be true. But what no one talks about is, well, I also spent 6 figures or 7 figures in ads
spent 8
or
figures,
staff.
made multi-7 figures.
And I think a lot of people talk about revenue, but they forget there's this other thing that occurs too, which is expenses. And not enough people, at least I think online, talk about what's a little bit more important, which is profits, right? That's actually the money you get to keep. So that is growth when you're growing revenue, but expenses are growing at the same rate. Scale is when you are growing revenue, but expenses have flatlined. Right? They're no longer growing at the same percentage as revenue. So that's what happens when you have figured out how do you continually grow revenue and you're able to help flatline and maintain the same expense without having to exceed it to grow revenue.
Yeah, and I think it is At Brand Builders Group, I think it's like we have two audiences, two customers we serve, our internal team and then our actual paying customers. And that's something that you and I have always been very passionate about, is like, we're not just building a business. It's like, we're creating a family. We take it very serious. Like, we're supporting the families. Like, Brand Builders Group supports all the families who are a part of this ecosystem. And so I do think that that is part of the vision and the excitement of AI, is to go, this is perhaps the greatest opportunity for scale that we've seen in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And maybe that we will ever see in our lifetime. So when you start with that question, why am I like nerding out over AI? I think it's a good touch point to consider those two audiences. One is what we already said. It's a chance for us to scale our company, grow profits disproportionate to revenue, which we then turn around and we share with our team because of how we've got the structure set up. And then number two is, I think that the number one driving question, at least for me, in terms of what drives our strategy at Brand Builders Group, is simply, how do we help our clients succeed faster? I am just consumed with that question. How do we help our clients succeed faster? Because one thing that also I think is very different about Brand Builders Group is, we're not just, like, for us, you know, you and I have a shared sales philosophy that a sale isn't made when the cash is collected. A sale is made when a result is delivered. And so we're not just in the business of collecting cash from our customers. We're in the business of delivering results to our customers. And I don't think we've ever had someone leave our membership program who was like, this program sucked. This was a waste of time. I didn't like it. You overpromised. This wasn't good. It's more like, I just, they were too busy, like, with their normal day job, or they didn't, maybe, like, it didn't take off the way they wanted it to. Or it's fast. It's all about speed, right? It's like, it's not taking off as fast as I want it to. And so, to me, Brand Builders Group is a strategy firm first and foremost. I think our job, at least how I view my job, is like our head of curriculum, that role that I kind of play, is my job is to go out and find the world's smartest and most effective strategies for growing a personal brand in all aspects: social media, podcasting, book launches, speaking, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we have to go find those. But every one of our clients has always said, can you just do this for me? Like, can you just build these funnels for me? Can you just write my keynote for me? Can you just read my book and edit my book? Like, can you just write these funnels? Can you just edit my demo video? And it's like, man, with 1,000, we've got nearly 1,000 active members. It's like, I would love to do that. I know that would help. I know you would love to do it. You're occupied running the whole company. And with 1,000 members, it's like, there's only so much time we can get to people. Yeah. And so I think AI for me is going, this is the way that we can scale execution, to go, these bots are a chance to have Rory and AJ coaching every single person in our membership as if they were sitting in this room right now, right here, talking to us like we would over dinner with friends or clients. So I think that's the big vision, is to go, I see them as a vehicle to enable us to move from solely strategy to strategy plus execution. Execution still being secondary, but we can scale the execution, its ability to scale access to us.
Yeah.
That's what I think is so powerful.
So I have a question for you. If time and money were no limit, and you could have any AI tool created and deployed next week, what would you be working to solve? Like, what problem would you be working to solve with AI with unlimited money and resources that could launch next week?
Are you going to give me an unlimited budget? Is that why you're asking?
I'm absolutely not doing that, but I do think it's a good question.
AJ is very frugal, which is part of why she's such a great CEO.
I am the financial fiduciary.
Financial fiduciary / frugal.
When necessary.
Okay, so I love this question. So I've been describing AI to our community in almost like two eras. So we're in era one right now, which are really like the release of these bots, right? So we're creating custom bots to immediately achieve deliverables for clients. There's things that we teach clients how to do. Here's how to write a sales page. Here's how to create an expert bio. Here's how to do your brand positioning statement. These things that you've heard about this on this podcast and in the Wealthy and Well-Known book of like, you select your primary business model, identify your avatar.
Yeah, so we have built a whole suite of bots that help you execute strategy.
Yeah, they execute, and they're like things that you would do one time, right? You write a speech one time, you write a book one time, you write an avatar one time. And so the earliest win, and for those people who are not listening, those are just some of the examples that we coach people on, is going, let's create bots to execute those things so people can create those deliverables faster. But the real answer to your question is what I think era 2 is. And era 2, for me, in terms of how we're deploying AI to our membership, is creating bots, or more appropriately and accurately named agents, which is a series of bots strung together, agentic workflows, creating agentic workflows that solve the problems that never go away. So let's give some examples, right? So such as creating social media content. So social media is a beast that you have to feed again and again and again and again. Like every week you have to put out new content. So you need new topics.
But lots of tools could do that right now. So what is different about this?
Yeah, well, what's different about ours is that it's got our intellectual property baked into it. So I think this is what I think is the real magic of AI for personal brands. And I think we're actually doing a great job of this. Is what makes our bots so amazing is 3 parts, and it's equally thirds. So the first third is that they are based on LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, etc. And we've built our AI digital infrastructure to be nimble, to where we can toggle switches and operate with different foundations. You know this, but the people listening have definitely never heard us talk about this on this show. So you've got these LLMs, and so you could ask ChatGPT, crank out some content topic ideas for me, and it would do it for you. But what it would be missing is the second of the 3 parts of the triangle, which is the Brand Builders Group proprietary intellectual property.
Yeah.
So all of the things that we teach about viral hooks and talk tracks and what to say and how to, reduce your fear and blah, 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 all these things in our curriculum that are not accessible in the public domain, ChatGPT and none of those LLMs, large language models, have access to our proprietary information. And so this is what I think all personal brands should be doing. It's again, we're just telling people to do what we're doing, is we're going, so we have, call it ChatGPT as the base foundation, but then our IP is layered on top. So if you want the Brand Builders way, the Brand Builders Group way, the Brand Builders Group methodology, we've baked it in. And then the other third is the client's information. So our bots, as you know, operate off of something that we created called brand memory. So when they complete exercises from our curriculum, like in the Era 1 bots, we store that information into brand memory. And so every future use case of a bot draws upon everything that's already pre-existing in brand memory.
Right.
And so that's the magic. Now, your question was, if I had unlimited budget,
yes, my question.
What would I do? And I would solve a whole classification of problems, which are the things that never go away. So, for example, creating topic ideas that are not only structured to go viral based on, what the LLMs would say, but scripts that are coached through our IP and then specifically tailored to you based on everything else you've done. That's a problem that never goes away. You have to constantly create content. You got to create thumbnails for your YouTube channel. You got to edit videos would be another great example. So one of the bots we created is called Clipbot. So a lot of our clients have a backlog of content and they're like, oh, I hate social media. Can I just upload, do you have someone that could just edit all my old videos? And the answer is, well, you could, but you'd have to hire a video editor, which is very expensive. So we created a bot that will crunch your past videos, and it's trained to pull out the time codes that make great short form content. And then it feeds the time codes to the video editors. That's a problem that never goes away. But it
doesn't edit it.
It doesn't edit it now. For now, the immediate thing that our clients right now in our membership have access to, they can upload a file and it will give them the time codes of exactly where to cut. So what it does is it saves them or their editor hours and hours of scrubbing through footage and just like sitting there watching over and over and over.
Now, these are bots that are made just for our members, though. So if we were to go outside of the Brand Builders Group community and you were to think about using AI that everyone potentially has access to, not just within the Brand Builders Group membership community, like how do you do some of that if you're not a member?
Yeah, I think I'd actually flip that question. I'd like to ask you about, because the stuff that you're using AI for is more, I think, relevant to that conversation. I think the part that's super relevant of what I'm saying to everyone listening, one is to hear how we're thinking about it and building it internally for our clients. One, because if you've been listening to the show for a while and you've considered becoming a client, like there could not be a better time in history. Of
Agreed.
course, you can go to freebrandcall.com/podcast and request a call with our team to learn more. But even if you have no interest in becoming a client of ours, you could adapt the same thinking and strategy for how we're building this to your own business to go, all right, how do I build an environment where I'm leveraging the tools of the day, the LLMs, but then I'm layering my proprietary intellectual property on top of it, and then I'm creating an interface for my clients to interact and add their own specific use cases, and then that engine of those three things working together is what creates the magic. Answer your
If there was one problem that you could solve next week with unlimited budget and time, if time wasn't a thing, like what is the one problem you would solve next week? And I hear you saying, I want to solve the problem that never goes away. But as we know, there's
several
so
examples
many,
of those,
right?
yeah.
There's so many.
The immediate one is what I call the speaking switchboard.
Mm.
So we teach a technique called the relationship switchboard. I've taught this for free on my blog before, which is basically a dating service of introducing two people to each other. And so we're building bots that connect people who should know one another.
Mm.
A good example of that is we're building a database of people who need speakers, and our clients are a database of people who want to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's for a fee, right? We have clients, ourselves, we speak $50,000. Our friends, some of our clients speak $150,000. Eric Thomas, Ed Milet, Will Guidara, people like that. They get top dollar to go speak. A lot of our clients go speak for free, and they use it to generate leads. What I want to do is I want to capture and build a database that all of our clients crowdsource, and then build the agentic calculation to go, oh, AJ spoke at this company. Rory would be a great fit for that company, and for it to be an automatic catalyst to create that introduction. And then the people who did the work of generating the lead and creating it get a percentage of the revenue. That's the number one thing, because it would help us guarantee that we could make our clients money right away. So that switchboard,
and that's an
functionality.
Immediate ROI, revenue generating, sales driven lead generation tool. And I think that's some of the strategy work that a lot of people are not using AI for. I think a lot of people are using AI right now, and they're using it for very simple things, important things, but simple things. How to respond to this message, drop this email.
I use it every day for like, how long should I grill steaks on stuff like that all the time.
But then there's more strategic building infrastructure work that we are seeing is really expediting our ability to move technology forward without having to go hire some big company who can code and who can do this. That's not a prerequisite anymore. Some of the things that I think along those same lines that are really important, not just in a personal brand fashion, but in a business owner fashion, a CEO fashion, that I have seen that have worked extraordinarily well. And I could give you a long list of things, but I think about some of the things that a year ago would take me hours and hours and hours to do that I am now cranking out in 5, 10, 15 minutes are extraordinary. Things that I had to hire full-time people to outsource to, that I'm now able to make a draft and a car ride from my house to Starbucks, send it to someone else to edit, clean up, and boom, there we go.
Okay. And I would love for them to hear your actual workflow on this.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
It's one step ahead of me.
Okay. I want to see. Okay. But just being It's not just one of us who can be verbose. I'm just for the record.
We'll let the audience decide who's more verbose. We'll do that. We'll have a voting contest in social media. But like a great example is role benchmarking, job descriptions, salary benchmarking, competitive analysis of.
So when you need to hire a new person,
yes,
walk us through that.
So today, and again, this would take so many hours and recruiters to do a year ago. Soon as I need a new role, the very first thing that I do, and again, this is where you have to know the role. You can't just step in and expect AI to be your brain. That's not how it works. And I think that's when a lot of people are going, oh, well, that wasn't very good. Like the output is only as good as the input, right? So you have to use your brain in order for it to do good work for you, which means you really have to know the role. You have to sit down and go, what am I really looking for? What type of person am I looking for? What tasks and responsibilities would this person do? Who would they report to? What would be the frequency of these tasks? What skill level would they need to have in those things? And so once I have all of that, and again, I literally voice this out to myself.
You have all. Right. And then how out of your
I
head.
literally use the voice feature on ChatGPT. And I literally say, hello, will you please, so friendly with it. And I go, hey, I am looking for a brand new position that has never existed before. I am looking for a person with these character traits, these personality characteristics, who can do these categories of work. And one of the things that I have found that works really well when you get super clear and specific is I break down the categories of work someone would do. I would say, hey, category 1 would be something such as proactive member outreach of members who are at risk. What does at risk mean? Then I'll define that and I'll go, and here are some of the things that I know they should do. And then I would encourage, ChatGPT, hey, please help fill in the gaps with anything that I've missed based on these types of membership companies that we potentially are comparable to, right? So I go category by category. Then at the very end, I would wrap that up with, hey, I need a formal job description that can be used, one, externally facing, then a more detailed one that would be internal facing that a manager could hold this person accountable to. Then I want you to go out based on this skill level, right? And I'll say this is a entry to mid-level person with 3 to 7 years of experience. This is a Nashville-based position or it's a remote-based position because those are two different salary fields. And I would ask it to do a salary benchmark across comparable companies of our revenue size with our employee count across all states in the United States.
Is this a different prompt from the job?
All one big prompt.
You're just puking it.
These are like 8-9 minute prompts.
Yeah.
Like legit. Then from there, I would say, please make me KPI recommendations that are top line or bottom line oriented. I would say, create me a metrics chart that gives me at what frequencies I said all of these tasks should be done at. This isn't an 8-9 minute drive. Like I use my drive time to do this now. I'll take a once over. I give my feedback through the voice prompt back into ChatGPT. And then I have a draft to then send to our head of people and ops who can verify a few things. And we are ready to go in about 15 minutes. This is immensely powerful and helpful in terms of, do you know how many sites that I would have to subscribe to or people to talk to do a salary benchmarking? Less than 2 years ago, I was paying $8,000 a year to do what I just did in 8 minutes for free on ChatGPT.
One of the mantras we have around Brand Builders Group is say it ugly first. We teach our members that all the time when you're creating content or like whatever. It's like, say it ugly first, just puke it out. And that's what you're doing. I do the same thing where it's just like, you don't have to have it perfectly formulated. Just start talking because that's what it does really well is it organizes your thoughts and creates like, KPIs and charts.
Now I've set up projects like in ChatGPT for this particular, scope of work where I keep all of the job descriptions so I can go back to a project and continue to iterate on a, job description of like, I've changed my mind after talking through this with our team. We don't need it to do this, this, and this, but I want you to add this, this, and this. The amount of workload that this has offboarded from myself, my head of people and ops and other directors in the company that just had never taken the time to do this is I can't even tell you how extraordinary it has been in order to clearly articulate, explain, and then benchmark. That is where I think some of the strategic thought is not being considered of like, no, I'm not having it pull anything from Glassdoor to Indeed to different other U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I am benchmarking salary rolls and KPIs. So I feel 100% confident when someone on the team or my head of people or a recruit's like, well, I just think I should get paid more. Based on what?
You feel
Tell me more about
is
that.
it's giving you accurate market
It really
comps.
is. It really is. And then I have all the places to go, but then that's it. It's like what I have found is that so many people who are looking for jobs, who are, looking for a new job or even looking to get a pay increase or get a promotion with their own company, they go out and they go, "Hey, what's the, salary range for this job?" with no context. Like, do you know, like, you could have the exact same title and have 45,000 different job descriptions. And it's like, what the title of this person means at this company, that's a $50 million company with a similar title at a $5 million company, we're not going to have the same salary team.
Yeah. Director of marketing means something very different.
And in different geographic areas and at different levels of experience and years of experience. And so just to have the very factual, logical proof to go, this is not an emotional conversation anymore. This is a logical conversation around real dollars, real employee counts, real companies.
Geography matters tremendously.
And so what I have found is that for our team and for the conversations we're having with potential employees, it gives us all a little bit more confidence of going, wow, like this would have been a full-time job or a recruiter or a very expensive tool to do the level of data and research that it's empowering us to have real conversations and make good hires based on real data.
So this is a little bit off the topic of AI, but it's right in the vein of what you're talking about. Can you explain for everyone what is the difference between a job description and a role mapping? We've never talked about that on this show, and I know that's a huge part of how you've hired and built our leadership team to hire. What is the difference between a job description and a role mapping? Why do you need both, and how do you use each of them?
And I am currently using AI to develop both.
You're using AI to build both of them, but the use for each of them is strategically different.
A job description is for recruiting purposes.
Okay.
A job description is external facing. It is high level. It is what you put in a job post. It's what you send to a recruiter. It's what a candidate is previewing to go, do I have the skills and qualifications, and do I have the interest to apply for such a job? A role mapping is an extension. It's an elaborate expansion of a job description into every granule, every little rock that needs to be unturned of what this person is accountable for. And that's really it. It's like, what tasks are you accountable for in this role? So when I make a job description with AI now, I turn around and then I use the exact same job description, make another probably 7-8 minute prompt to build out a detailed role mapping that a manager could hold their team accountable to. Right? It's going, hey, in each of these categories, what are the very specific tasks and responsibility? And at what frequency is this person held accountable to doing these things? What I have found is over the years is that most often, more often than not, it's not that somebody just didn't do the job because they didn't want to. Often they didn't even know they were supposed to. Or at what frequency. And that was poor onboarding, poor training, poor accountability.
I've also been shocked at how many of our meetings we're like, well, whose job is that? And we're like, we'll pull up the role mappings. And it's like, oh, it's not on anyone's role mapping. Like, we literally don't have that task assigned to a person. And so it's like, no wonder why it doesn't get done. It's extremely powerful to go like, each task for each person
has to belong to a person.
Has to belong to somebody.
With a backup. And then a backup to the backup. But that's it. A role mapping is the list of tasks that we can hold that person accountable to. So that's an internal facing document, or a job description is more of a recruiting tool. Yeah.
And one thing if you're feeling overwhelmed right now as an entrepreneur and you're just like completely buried, a lot of time it's kind of a desperate, hopeless feeling of like, I need help, but I can't have time to get help. And where am I going to find the perfect person? And from an emotional standpoint, the best thing you can do for yourself is make a list of all the tasks that need to be done. Don't try to find the person. When you just dump out of your brain, and ChatGPT is a good function for this, what are all the tasks that need to be done, is immediately emotionally freeing and empowering to go, I could probably get someone to do this. And at least now you know exactly who you're looking for, and you can do something with it. It goes from this obscure emotional, mess in our brain to a tactical, like, okay, well, what would it cost to get someone to do these tasks and then hold them
What
accountable?
I found is that when you don't do that, and then we can move on from this particular topic, when you don't do that is when you end up overpaying or underpaying, because there wasn't clarity in what this person would actually be doing. And then all of a sudden they're in the job and you're like, you know what, I do need someone to do this, or, this is going to be what your job is. And you end up overpaying or underpaying when you don't have clarity in all of the tasks that they're going to be held responsible for.
So
This has been an immensely revenue saving, profit maximization, and time saving tool that we've implemented in the last year.
I want to hear some of the other examples of, so this is powerful. Like, this has been huge. It's almost like an HR function of a business 100%. That all of us as entrepreneurs, we struggle with, or executives, like you have to hire people. What are some of the other general ways you're using it? And by general, I'm just saying not our internal bots, because we've also built a set of internal bots that do things just for our team internally,
which has been extraordinary.
So what are some of the non-internal bots, that other uses of AI that you're using as a CEO?
Yeah, I would say, like, I should be their new spokesperson, because I talk about this so much, is Fixer. FYXER.ai.
They would be a great sponsor for this podcast.
I talk about them all the time.
Be getting them as a sponsor.
I have an amazing chief of staff who, doubles as my executive assistant, plus, all things project management for me at BBG and beyond. But there's just so much that one person can do that I just felt the need over the last couple of months. So it's like, I need my chief of staff doing more project work, more high-level strategic work. And I found that she was getting caught up in my inbox and my calendar more than she had time to keep up with vetting and, research and a lot of other things that are on her role. And I got introduced to Fixer. It's comparable to like a Superhumans or some of those other email tools out there.
These are AI-based inbox management tools.
Inbox and calendar. But what I like specifically about Fixer is that, one, you can train it, right? You can upload a lot of training docs to it. Others don't have that or didn't have it when I researched them. The other thing that I really like about it is it replaces other tools that you might be using, like Fathom, right? So it follows me to every meeting that I go. And what I have found about it specifically
it's
is that
also an AI note taker for your virtual
It's an AI
meetings.
note taker, but then what it does is it takes all of those, puts them in email draft form, automatically includes everyone who is on the call. So I have all of these notes. Like, my chief of staff used to have to come to meetings to take all of these notes and action items. And yes, Fathom has helped with that, but email drafting and assigning who to who, it does it so well. And by the time I'm done with the meeting, 5 minutes later, there is an email draft in my inbox to everyone who was on the meeting, with a recap of the meeting, a link to the meeting, and then every second with an action item where you can link to where I said that or it was written. And so the communication process, the accountability process of using Fixer or something like Fixer has put everyone on notice of, oh no, this is what we said. Now it's in writing with your name tagged to it. With the minute it was said, email drafted, sent, go. And the heightened level of accountability and specificity that it does that is extraordinarily well. It's almost acting as like a project management tool in and of itself, without, all the details of a Monday or an Asana. But I have found that is an extraordinarily useful part of that. That was an added bonus. The other things is its ability to just filter through your inbox and then draft emails. Now, the drafting of emails, most of them need slight editing, but I have found that its accuracy and calendar availability is extraordinary. So somebody will say, hey, AJ, I'd love to, get on a meeting with you. And I have filters set up that is, if this is a first-time person who's never emailed me, it does not draft a response. It does not come to me. That it's being filtered. So it goes to an inbox that Laura manages and checks, of like, who is this stranger who's never emailed us before, who's asking for a meeting or a call. But if it is someone who has emailed before, or it can tell in the tone that we know each other, it will draft an email, right? That I can then go and approve. It scrapes my calendar and says, AJ, these are the 3 times that you're available. Should we offer these to, Bob? And then all I have to do is edit, send, right? And often it's just a send. But this is saving me and my chief of staff hours every week. Like, I love that it too gives me, an end of week recap of this is what we did for you last week. This is how many hours it saved, how many emails we drafted. But last week alone, in 7 days, it rerouted 782 emails that never met my eyeballs. That's significant, not just for me, but for my team. And so there's lots of different ways of I'm just getting more effective, more efficient with where I spend my time and where my chief of staff spends her time with, hey, I've got an initial draft. All right, I can train it in my tone of voice. I have all these folders set up where, these are first time emails that are coming in. So we can vet, like, do I actually know this person, or is it a sales? Is it a promo? Is it marketing? Is it a mention? Is it Monday? And that alone, yes, you can have email rules like that in Outlook, but not to this degree, not to this level of what I would just say the specificity of how it's tagging things and moving them has freed up so much work for me. And then the drafting, just an initial draft, has also been super helpful where maybe I change 2 or 3 words out of sentence versus having to start from scratch. So Fixer, I'm super high on right now.
And you feel comfortable with the team trying out tools like that too?
Our team is trying out tools. I set up with Fixer a Brand Builders Group organization account. So anyone who tries to register with Fixer with at brandbuildersgroup.com automatically gets added to the
That's
organization
really
so that
smart.
we can set admin settings, which I think is also really wise. Otherwise, every person in your organization's trying a new tool. And so we've set up some admin settings in the tools that we're advocating for.
What do you think are some of the things people are doing wrong with AI in general, in terms of either how they're thinking about it, how they're using it, or how they're not using it, just in general, like personal brands, small business owners, let's say specifically, you go, here's some of the things I'm either hearing about or seeing people do or not do that I would flag as like, I wouldn't advise that.
I have 3 categories of really close friends who would fit in each of these categories.
Okay.
Category 1 would be, what's AI? It's like, I mean, I know what people talk about, but what's it really used for? I have really close, successful
Sure.
8-figure entrepreneur friends who right now are going, don't tell me how you really use it. And they still have in their mind a little bit, it's a marketing tool.
Mm.
Right? They're going, well, yeah, but I'm not in marketing. I'm not building a personal brand. I'm not doing copy and content. Like, what do actual business owners use it for?
Mm.
I have that category of friends.
All right.
And I think that's a big no-no. I think that's a big, don't be in that category. Do I think that it's going to be used in every function of every department today? No. Do I really think it will likely be in every function of every department of your company very soon? I do. And that's going to be because you, the business owner, the entrepreneur, have created a path for it, or your team's going to be doing it without you, and they're going to go rogue because they're going, well, if you're not doing it, I'm doing it because I would like efficiencies in my work. And I think what happens when I see the friends that I know who just haven't embraced it in their work life at all, their teams have, and their teams are now using it in maybe not the most productive ways, such as thinking it can do their job for them. Right. And all of a sudden, we had somebody share this last week. They're like, my team is sending me AI written emails. And it's like, okay, well, that's because you haven't had the AI conversation. It's like, I can still tell if I know someone well enough. I'm like, you did not write that. That is way too polite. I know you didn't do it. So I'm like, I know that is not how you talk. It's like, no, you don't use AI to write emails to your colleagues or to your boss or to your team. So is it a memo? Sure, you could use it for that. But I think there's some of those things where it's like, AI is not an excuse to no longer use your brain, right? That's not what it's for. And if we're not educating and training properly on how do we use it, where do we use it, what's appropriate and what's not, then people don't know. So don't be mad. right? And that's where business owners have to step in and go, these are the AI policies, guidelines for the company and how we use it for efficiency and effectiveness, and where it's a no-no. You get to decide that. So that would be category one. Category two is where people are only using it in, what I would say, I'm just going to say business areas of their life. And they go, oh, well, I'm not going to let this invade the personal parts of my life, or vice versa, right? They have segmented this is only for the marketing department, or this is only for the financial analysis team, or this is only for whatever, executives. I'm just making that up. Or other people who are going, well, I use it in my personal life, but I don't want to use it in business because that takes away my true expertise and authenticity.
Mm.
I was like, well, neither are true.
Yeah,
right?
some people use it more like Google. They're just like replacing Google for like personal search, but they're not really leveraging
They're not
the power
using it.
of it in business.
Like a very quick example, like in my personal life, as you know, and some people who've followed the podcast for a while know, I've had a pretty radical health journey after an emergency gallbladder surgery, and I don't eat oils of any kind, right? I don't cook with oils. I don't eat with oils. I have a very low fat diet, don't eat a lot of sugar, right? So if you don't cook with any oils at all, it can be kind of hard to go like, how's anything going to taste good? Right. So I've used this a ton for recipe creation of, hey, I need a 4-ingredient recipe that uses no types of butter, coconut oils, olive oils, avocado oils, no oils, who da 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 da. And that has been a very simple
Tell you who's
way.
not going to sponsor our podcast or any oil companies.
That's right. Sorry, guys. But I think but it is one of the most helpful, because I have searched high and low in every bookstore, online on Amazon, for cookbooks that cook with no oils. It just doesn't exist. There are no cookbooks that are oil-free cooking. And so it's been a really challenge in our personal life, in my kitchen, of going like, how do I not just eat a turkey burger every day? It's been really frustrating. And ever since I've started using this for this micro part of my personal life, it's like, I'm excited to cook again and try new recipes again, and none of them have oil in it. And there is no cookbook that exists. Maybe that's my next book, right? Oil-free cooking, which no one will buy. But it serves a really important personal need, right? And so how are we using it to fill the gaps in our life where we haven't been able to find the resource we need?
Yeah, and that's how I really think about AI in like a really tight summary. Is it's like, I think of it as like an assistant.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it for you. You have to know what to do.
It's got to do it with you.
It does. It does it with you. You have to be able to direct its work. You have to be able to guide it, coach it, know what you want.
Yeah.
Like, it can't tell you what you want. You've got to know that. But it can do a lot of the more menial parts of labor or manual tasks or repetitive things. Like, it just crushes in that
and
area.
Deep research too.
Sure. Research assistant. Same thing.
Second category,
Okay.
right? It's like you're segmenting it somehow. And then the third category, you have the one extreme of, what is it? Don't want to touch it. Don't want it to invade my life, people, or they just don't get it. And then you've got the other where they're like, amazing, AI is here. I'm firing my workforce, right? And I think that's equally as a dangerous place to be. That's removing the humanity from your work. And I do think it's going to create efficiencies. Unfortunately, I do think it's going to replace jobs. It is replacing jobs. You've already seen the massive layoffs, but a lot of those layoffs were happening because of inefficiencies. And I just really believe that there is a place for, you've got to have the human capital in the workforce. And then there is a hybrid of bringing AI in to do the parts of the job that you didn't really want to do anyways, right? There are some parts of my job I just don't want to do. And I have been doing them because I just have to do them. But now there is a tool that does them for me, so I can do the parts that I'm better at, more skilled out, enjoy more. That can be for my entire workforce. I don't have to get rid of my workforce. I can make them healthier, happier employees, more efficient, more effective, more productive, and happier by using some things to relieve things off their plates. And that's how I think we should be doing it.
Yeah, and I pulled this up from one of our clients. So this is from a woman named Daphne, who's been in our program for 18 months, and she said, I jumped on the AI bandwagon years ago, so I'm no stranger to the benefits and also the challenges. But I've been using the brand builder bots since you gave us all access. They are incredible. I'm almost done writing all of my primary keynote speeches for all 5 of my pillars. These bots are not just a one and done. As with all things, you really do have to work with them. That being said, the brand bots have allowed me to leverage frameworks and models you've created, but also to really learn how those models work at the highest levels to help me get more of my things done. Lead offer, closing offers, they are geniuses. And I think, those are the bots obviously that we've created, but it's, you see that light bulb come on for people to go, oh my gosh, it helps us to move faster and get through more of the mundane things, to do more of the higher level things. And while I do think it will replace jobs, I think it will also create jobs. And
Absolutely.
I do think it will cause people to have to think differently, just like the internet did. Like the internet, killed a bunch of jobs, but it also created a bunch of jobs.
Same with social media.
So I don't totally worry about the whole world just being like laid off.
I don't either. And for every job that's laid off, there's going to be a reemergence of industries and jobs that are refilled again, right? It's not like everyone's going to be, sitting at home collecting unemployment. Hopefully. I don't think that's the case. But, I had this conversation with someone the other day, and I'm like, if you think about every single progressive,
technological,
not even technological, just any sort of progressive element of society. So think about it. Grocery stores, they are not technological at all, but they replaced farmers markets. They replaced the door-to-door milkman, right? They replaced something and eliminated one thing, but created a whole new thing, right? I'm not saying not to go shop at the farm. That's not what I'm saying. But it's like every single progression has eliminated one, but created another simultaneously. And that's what we're seeing here.
Is there anything you are scared of? So we got to wrap up here. Is there
many things?
Is there anything about AI that you are really worried about?
Yeah. But they're not any different than they're the same things I'm worried about with social media. They're the same things I'm worried about with anything.
It's like it's just another opportunity for the proliferation of bad things.
Sure.
But it is equally and greater the opportunity of the proliferation of good things.
For now, I very much see it as I see most things. Anything in this world can be wielded for good or for evil. And this is just another one of those tools, another one of those examples. I think there is a lot of good to social media. I also know there's a lot of bad, right? I think there's a lot of good to, schools. I think that we see a lot of bullying and a lot of problems in schools today. That doesn't mean we eliminate school, right? That doesn't mean that we, shut down freedom of speech on social media. But I think with anything, this is just a new emergence of there are going to be hard things. There are going to be scary things. Welcome to life. I get scared going on the interstate every single day, like just today, the day, right? It's no different than anything else.
Yeah, I think that's so true. It's AI is a tool, and what matters is the hearts of the people who are using it. And I think when I think about our passion of serving mission-driven messengers is we want to surround ourselves with people who are good people, who care about changing the world, want to make a difference. And so we're embracing the idea of building tools to help people like that, people like you, to use these tools so that you can reach more people. So those are some of our initial thoughts on AI. Thanks for being here. If you want to learn more about Brand Builders Group and you want to have a chance to sample some of our bots and talk about how they could work for you, go to freebrandcall.com/podcast. Share this episode with someone who you think would benefit from it, and we'll see you next time.